I live in the favelas of South America. What is it like to live here? I'm gonna tell you. Let's walk and talk as I take you around the neighborhood. Let's go. Okay, so I want to start by showing you some of the visuals just so you can get an idea, like really see what my neighborhood is like. We've lived in this particular neighborhood for about a year, but if you count the fact that we used to live 8 blocks further down, then we've really lived here coming up on 4 years, but it is technically a different neighborhood. Looks almost the same. Let's go walk around a little bit. Here is another street. I just walked 1 block up, and I want to talk a little bit about, is it dangerous? Okay, and I'm gonna basically talk about some things that people say on social media and tell you the truth. One of the things that people often say on social media is, oh, you shouldn't go to these neighborhoods, it's so dangerous, don't travel there. But what is it like to live in these kinds of places? Because if you're living there, you're not just traveling there, you're there day in and day out. So what is the truth? I love these stairs right here. I don't know why. Can't explain it. But let's talk about, is it dangerous to live? What was that? Probably a dog biting another dog. But is it dangerous to live in these places? And my answer is not really. It's not any more dangerous than living in a metropolitan city in the United States of America. Dallas, LA. I mean, that's number one, okay? Number two, cool. Oh, I just found the perfect spot to sit down and discuss this topic a little bit right here. Check this out. Got this little, ooh, look at the view. Okay, so let's sit down and talk about this a second. Look at that. I even got a thing for my back right here. Okay, so number one is that it's really not any more dangerous than just living in the average neighborhood of your average metropolitan city in the USA, or really any major city around the world, most major cities around the world for that matter. But you have to remember that in these like ghetto neighborhoods in other parts of the world, that is not where the people are committing a lot of like theft. So even though, yes, there are a good amount of thieves that live in these neighborhoods, they like to drive 10 or go 10, 20 minutes outside of these neighborhoods to go to the nicer neighborhoods where the middle class or upper class are, the people that are walking around there are more likely to have more expensive phones to rob and stuff like that. That's another reason why it's really not as dangerous as people make it out to be. Okay, I mean, if you don't believe me, just come and live in one of these kinds of neighborhoods, and essentially you'll see, talk to the neighbors, ask the neighbors how they feel, ask the neighbors if they've heard of anything going on. Like this neighborhood, even though yes, there is a decent chance that there are a good amount of thieves that may live here, may or may not. My guess is that there could be a decent amount. They're not they're not terrorizing their neighborhood. Before I continue this conversation, I just want to show you this cool street that I found. I've walked past this street before, but I've never really stopped and paid attention. Pretty cool because look at this. You got some nice greenery, got a cool view here. I'm not making this out to be some kind of paradise. I'm just saying I appreciate interesting areas. I see the beauty in a lot of places that other people don't see the beauty, but then we got this really steep hill. Look how steep this is. I mean, like imagine your car coming up here. Check this out. Let's just get low to the ground. Man, that's like, well, that's just like such a steep incline right there. All right, let's just pause and take a moment to appreciate this beautiful sunset right there. Love the sunsets. Let's talk about another misconception about the favelas. So, whenever you see houses that just have this plain ugly brick, like this building right here. Wow, look, we're almost on the top of the mountain. Anyways, when you see that, you tend to think, wow, the insides of those must just be so ugly. And I'm here to tell you that a lot of times they're not. 95% of the time, the inside of them look nice. They're painted, they look normal, they're pretty nice. It's just that a lot of the owners of the buildings who are local people themselves, they just don't prioritize painting the outside of the buildings because they don't really make much more money on rent if they paint the outside. So a lot of them don't really care. They'll just fix up the inside. Now, for anyone that might be thinking, well, I've seen videos on social media of the inside of favelas and they were trashy and terrible and looked just so poor and run down. Okay, yes, we've all seen those, but there's two things you need to take into consideration. Number one is that that is the minority, and those are the videos that tend to go viral. So people tend to like to see this. Oh, this person went into this like dungeon like kind of place in such and such country and they made it out alive, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, those things go viral. So yes, we've all seen those videos. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I would say that the great majority of the inside of apartments in South America that do look trashy on the inside, like the paint is peeling and all that stuff. Here's one thing that you have to take into consideration, and you have to remember, I've lived in my wife and I've lived in South America for almost 8 years at the time of me recording this video. Okay, so we were speaking from experience, from what people tell us, from what we've seen and things like that. So let's talk about the second thing to keep in mind. Okay, we've got a nice backdrop here for point number two. We've got some graffiti on the wall, okay? Now, here's the other thing is a lot of times these trashy apartments where the paint is peeling and stuff is the renters, when they moved in, it didn't look like that. It was actually recently renovated. So what happens is a lot of times people here will move into an apartment where the inside was recently painted and the floors still look decent and stuff like that. But then they just stay living there for years. And as rent goes up, they stay paying the same amount of rent and they'll be renting there for 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. And in all that time, they are maintaining a lower amount of rent. And the landlord, which this happens all around the world, even in the States, the landlord is like, well, I'm not going to paint. I'm not going to touch up the place, fix it up and do unnecessary things until they move out. So if a person's been living in a place 9 years, 11 years, 12 years, it starts to look bad. I mean, even this paint right here, this paint is only just a few years old and it's already starting to look bad, which granted it is outside, but you see what I'm saying? So that is part of the reason why sometimes you go into the inside of a favela apartment and doesn't look good. But the moment that they move out, the landlord does want to raise the rent and they will paint it. They will fix up some stuff, some cosmetic stuff. And then whenever you go in as the new tenant, it actually looks decent. Now, I'm not here trying to make favela living sound like some kind of paradise. I am just kind of busting some myths, also kind of helping you to see like just the way that some of this stuff goes, because it is a truth. It's not just a black and white like, oh, that place is ghetto, nasty, completely horrible, and dangerous and you shouldn't go there. That's not really the case. Some of the best friends and best experiences that you'll ever make in Latin America are in places that look like this right here. Trust me when I say that. Good friends, good parties, good food. Trust me. Now, I do have one little detail that I need to share with you before I wrap this video up. And it is, oh, real quick, look at the view though. See the whole city. We're almost on the top of the mountain here. Oh, look at that. Actually, I'm probably going to run up there in a second. But the last little thing that you need to know is that I do not live in Brazil. Oh no, now someone's going to be like, well, those aren't favelas. You don't live in favelas. And here's the thing. I agree with you 100% on that. 99%. But here's the thing. Every time I post videos of these neighborhoods that we're walking around in, that we live in, I'm talking the last 7.5 years that we've lived down here, people on social media, no matter what account I post it to, I have lots of different social media accounts, people will always be like, oh, you live in the favelas. Those are favelas. Those are favela. I understand that favela is like a Brazilian word, and that's the famous, quote unquote, slums or ghettos of Brazil. But if 98% of people look at my videos and see houses like this and they go, oh, you live in the favelas, I'm just using your terminology, right? The terminology of 98% of the audience. Now, everything I said in this video up until this point, it applies heavily in almost any country south of the border, so to speak, from Mexico all the way down to Argentina. Even in Argentina, there's neighborhoods like this, and I've been in them. I've walked in them. I have friends that live in them. I don't live in Argentina, by the way, but I live somewhere in South America. But point is some of the stuff that I've described, or like pretty much most of the stuff I've described, applies to almost any of these neighborhoods. So with that being said, travel is cool. Living in other places is cool. You have great experiences, make good friends. And I'm going to walk up here, and I will see you in the next one.